welcome to Sarah Yoga. I am Sarah. Today we have a moon day sequence, meaning if you're on your cycle, or even if you're not, if you're just feeling like you're moving kind of slow and you don't want to do really intense practice, we'll move through a couple of poses here that will work to create space, slow down the body, and create opening, especially through the hips, through the lower belly, and through the low back. So as always with this channel and with my practice here on Sarah Yoga, you don't need anything fancy. You don't need to be in fancy yoga clothes or have a fancy setup in any way. The whole point is to do something that's going to make you feel better, make you feel more grounded. So whatever you need to do to get into that space, that might mean that you put your pajamas on. I will be using one yoga block. So if you have one of those, that's great. If not, you can just take a couple of books or even a pillow or a couple of pillows to make it a little bit more dense will work just as well. So we'll grab our mat and our setup and we'll jump right in. So we're going to start here in a seat. You can use your block or your pillow to come sit up on to create more space in the pelvis. And what this is doing is why people always suggest to have something to sit up on is it allows for, you can feel it here, the hips to drop down a little bit and the pelvis is kind of like a bowl, right? And when we're slouching, the pelvis dips back. So when we have something to lift up on, we can turn that bowl upright and create more space into the hip sockets where the femur bones move right up into the pelvis area. So just taking a moment here, feeling the breath starting to fill up the belly and the low back. You might even bring one hand onto your low back, your low belly. Just allowing yourself to take the time to fill up with your breath. You might use this time to check in and notice how the rest of your body feels, what is happening in your mind today. Sometimes we can feel a little guilty for not doing a million different things on these days that we feel slower. But if you can really just allow yourself to fully commit to moving slower, right, and use that time to let your body rest a little. On those days that you do move faster, you tend to be a little bit more efficient. Especially when we're connected to this lower belly breath, feeling grounded and rooted through the pelvis, open through the low back and the belly. Just one more inhale here. Through the mouth. Exhale. Release. Sitting up on something, take that out of the way. Few rounds of drunk cat-cow, so find all fours. And initiate here with just regular cat-cow. A few rounds to arch. Exhale to round. Again, inhale. Exhale, and then just sweep the hips around a couple times. Maybe roll out through the head, the neck. This is the drunk cat-cow part. Really allowing some freedom of movement to open up some of these tighter spaces. And then when you're ready, we're going to take ourselves right up into downward dog. You might pedal it out. And then we'll step the right foot forward, drop that back knee. And we'll take this. Actually, I'm going to start with the left foot just so I'm not facing the wall. It doesn't really matter whatever foot you want to start with. So we're going to take the foot you're using and turn it outward, and then slide all the way onto the side of the opposite hip. So you're in this sort of relaxed side lunge. Lengthen out that bottom leg and walk your front hand a little forward, and you can lengthen out the arm and push out of that arm just to get a nice big stretch along this side of the waist. You can just let the top hand rest on the knee and continue to gently push into that front hand and feel this nice stretch as you let that bottom leg get nice and heavy. And so breathing here into the belly, the low back. You might check in with the jaw, the back of the throat. And you can start to feel the side of your ribs pulling away from the pelvis gradually. It's a nice slow process. Can you just allow yourself to enjoy the breath? Enjoy the speed your body is asking you to move at today. And then eventually we'll swivel back around and step right back into that downward dog. Again, you might pedal it out. Maybe roll out the head, the neck. And so once more, even here, feeling some space into the pelvis, to the femur bones. Little inversion in downward dog. And then we'll step the opposite foot forward, whichever one you did before, do the opposite. So I did my left before, I'm going to step the right foot forward. And we'll do the same thing. We're going to swivel the toes out, and then start to slide onto the edge of that bottom hip. And then from here, you might want to walk your front hand forward. And push into the hand, really lengthen out through the arm. Just let that top hand rest. Lengthen out your bottom leg and then let it relax. So our only purpose here is to maybe find a little bit of lift through the heart, but really letting that bottom leg soften, letting the nature of this pose create that stretch across the side of the waist, letting the pelvis be pulled away from the rib cage. And then come back into your breath. And this pose is also really good for digestion, any stomach issues. we'll slowly come out of this side, and we're gonna come right back up into that same downward dog. Pedal it out. Maybe roll out through the head, the neck. And then we'll come down onto the knees. So lastly, in our short little moon day practice. And there are so many other poses that we can do. I'm just kind of giving you a little mini break in your day, a little taste of this. If you want something more complete, just leave me a comment and let me know that that's something you're looking for. Sometimes just a brief moment in our day can really help a lot. We'll come down onto our back and can grab your block, your stack of books, your pillow. If you're using the block, we're gonna bring it on that lowest level, so nothing too extreme. Slide it underneath the tailbone. This is sort of a different take on a pose that typically do at the wall, but this is sort of one if you don't have a lot of props, you don't have, an hour set out in your day to do yoga. And so we'll release the legs long and just let the heels land on the ground. And you might just rest your hands on your pelvis. And start to feel the stretch across the front of the abdomen, release in the low back, release through the back of the head, the neck, and the jaw. So if this feels really nice in the body, feel free to stay here for a moment longer if you have the time. Sometimes I will stay in that for a good 5 minutes, just to really release. To come out of this, you'll bend the knees, and we've been here for a little while, so take your time removing your prop from underneath you. Just give yourself a couple soft windshield wipers with the knees. And then a nice big stretch. We'll roll off to either side. Peel up. And end here in one last seat. You can prop yourself up on that block, or just take a brief moment one final time to feel that breath dropping into the pelvis. So I hope this helped. Brief little moon sequence for you today. Thank you so much for joining me on XSarah Yoga. I will see you next time. Namaste.